Bonjour tout le monde, tout Creole Dominica aux Antilles, c'est un plaisir qu'on nous là avec ça. Bienvenue sur l'émission Creole Heartbeat. Pour Sensible Creole, c'est là qu'on partage beaucoup d'informations sur culture de la Dominique, famille, culture, tout ça. Et je vais donner un grand invité, ça c'est le Premier ministre de la Dominique, ça c'est Monsieur Roosevelt Skerrit. It gives us great pleasure on Creole Heartbeat to welcome the Honorable Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica. We'll be kind of focusing on culture and sports today on this special Creole Heartbeat edition. And that's where we say welcome to the Prime Minister of Dominica. Welcome to Creole Heartbeat.
Right. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Sakafet. Bonjour.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Okay. PM, firstly, even before we actually get into the meat of our matter here, how are you? I mean, 2 decades at the helm of this nature wild. You just had a major celebration in China, but how are you feeling? How is your health? How is your focus? And also, I mean, your consciousness after 2 decades at the helm in Dominica?
My health is fine. One of the things that I feel like Job, you're challenged, but you have to keep the faith. I mean, it's been 20 years of tremendous challenges, from natural disasters to external shocks to, the geopolitics in the world, having to mobilize resources to build and to rebuild and to build and to rebuild. So when I came in 2004, in that same year we had the earthquake in the north, affected the north, several homes affected and infrastructure. You had to respond to that, and then you had several external shocks with the financial crisis, the oil crisis that was affecting the world. Then you had the wars in the Middle East, which caused impacts on our economies. That's an external shock. You had the invasion of Iraq, and you had in Libya in 2011 thereabout, and of course, you had the several disasters. In 2007 we had an impact, in 2010 an impact, in 2013 an impact, 2015 an impact, 2017 an impact, then COVID-19 came, then you have the Russia-Ukraine situation, and here again you have the Israel-Gaza Palestinian situation, and on top of that you have a lot of geopolitical activities taking place, which all have a negative impact on the way of life of our country. So, but all things considered, I think we have done well over all 20 years. And of course, as long as we are on Earth, we still have many things to do.
Absolutely.
So, but I always remain. I'm an optimist. I don't complain. I always tell my cabinet that leaders must not complain. Leaders must find solutions to problems, and we get things done. My only hope and prayer is that we in Dominica could have more of a constructive engagement. We're a little bit too negative and unnecessarily, and we want things done, but we don't want to get done, because we have so many different opinions and views and suggestions, and they're not views and expressions in large measure which would encourage things to happen. It is more to stymie things. Okay, well, you're going to do something at the gardens and plant flowers and plant trees. People are opposed to it, but they're not suggesting which trees you should plant or which flowers you should plant. You want to build a new library, do not bring your library down. Though it has been affected by all the storms that we've had, it's over 100 years. Then where do you build a library if you don't replace the old one? So you have those issues that we're contending with. I believe that the current generation must guard itself against being part of that. We can criticize and we can suggest, but it must be to make the thing better, but not to prevent it from happening. I think that's part of human nature and this thing. So that's my only little concern I have. Because running this country is not easy, as you know. I mean, you have to mobilize resources to do everything, and you have a small population, limited capacity to implement things. But all things considered, I think we've done well. You know, I mean, look at where we are a few years after the hurricane, where we were at the time of the hurricane. And if one could consider all of this money that we've had to spend to respond to the destruction caused by the hurricanes and the storms, if we had built on what we had built the years prior, where we would have been, we certainly would have been way further than we are. But the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away, and blessed be His name. So we subscribe to that principle.
Absolutely. When you look at the green and orange economy, what is your vision? How would you position, Dominica to take advantage of the green and orange economy? I
think first I believe that the society and of course the practitioners in those two groups of the green economy, and of course the green economy talking about the use of the forest and the use of the environment to generate economic activity. Yeah. Because people believe that because it is a forest reserve, we should not seek to make use of it to benefit the economy. We have to protect it so that which it offers, we can benefit from. Absolutely. So the whole issue of environmental research, the whole issue of botany, and the whole issue of pharmacology and pharmacological research, and using the plants within the environment, hiking, and even within the forest. Within the forest, you go to many national parks around the world where you have accommodation. Absolutely. But accommodation that is blended with the national park. And so we have to look at how do we take advantage of the resources which the environment has and translate that into money, translate into assets to people, translate that into jobs. Because if you have a piece of land, Wadex, and you have nothing on it planted, it is not used as security in the bank to take a loan to do something else. It's of no value to you. You see what I'm saying? And if we have 45+% of our environment are protected by law, how do we use it? Yeah. So that the man who is living close to a forest reserve, is not forced to go and illegally extract wood, lumber from the forest, or he destroys the forest because he has to go around the law to make a living. Yeah. You see, or to tell somebody, because you have land in the Twapita area, Twapita Basin, that you can't use it for your economic activity. Yeah. So the idea is to use the environment and to look at the economic opportunities where this is concerned. In respect to orange economy, that's where we're talking about a real export industry. Real export industry of our artists, of all forms, the belly dancers, the traditional dancers, the Creole singers, the Carnival singers, the bouillon singers, the calypso singers, the people in the performing arts, and a wide range of areas there, where I do not believe that not only Dominica, I believe in the Caribbean, we have not seen this as an export industry and a huge foreign exchange earner. So when a Dominican goes out to perform and he brings back $10,000 and is deposited into his bank account, that's foreign exchange. Yeah. That is money we did not have in the economy that he is adding to the economy and help grow the economy. And I think to even our statistics, in the national statistics, we don't capture that as a contributor to the economy. This is why I'm saying the Dominican economy is way larger than it's been reported, because there's so many elements of it that are not captured. And so Minister Cozier Frederick, I've designated him to lead on the orange economy. So we're working now with the OECS on two projects which we'll benefit from, to bring training, to bring policies that we can implement that could facilitate taking advantage of the opportunities in the orange economy, and also getting the artists and those stakeholders within the orange economy to better appreciate their role and their contribution in respect to economic activity. I mean, a guy like Issa Banton, I think we in Dominica underestimating his contribution, the impact that he's making on the economy in Dominica. Because when you hear Issa Banton all over these places, some say, and he brings in $100,000 into his bank account. It's huge. And also from the point of view of the marketing and the promotion of Dominica as well, and so forth. So even with regards to the Creole aspect of Dominica, and we have to move towards branding things and also trademarking things, because that's where you're going to be getting the royalties from. Absolutely. You see what I'm saying? Unless we have patents and we own those patents, so anybody who is going to be using this, they have to pay us, they have to pay you. You understand what I'm saying? So even your program should be patented. Yeah. Because what the World Intellectual Property Organization has done is that it has demystified intellectual property and move away from the notion that intellectual property is only for the multinational companies that who can register patents. Anybody in the village, so even the Carnival people can patent the basket making. You give it a name and you patent it. So that anybody who's going to make baskets like that, the Carnival people are going to get royalties. And so I think it's important for us to have more public education as to how people can not only benefit from the raw material that they have, right, but also from royalties. Absolutely. Because Michael Jackson is dead, but he's making money. Bob Marley is dead. We just saw a movie on him. And I'm sure the family picked up a few millions. Of course. You see what I'm saying? But I was using the word Bob Marley, which is patented. You see what I'm saying? So if we have those patents and this trademark, then people can start making money. So you can will that Creole Heartbeat to your children. Yes. Because they'll be getting money for it. But that is no. If you can't will that because it's not property. You see what I'm saying? Yes. So we have to start looking at those things, and I think that in the government system, I believe the government maybe need to do a little more in providing that education and that facilitation and the support that people need. How can we take advantage? So when I was in China at the Boer conference, I met the General Secretary of WIPO. So I'm going to be inviting him to Dominica so that he can have a session in Dominica along with his technical people, and bring all of those persons who are originators of things in Dominica, creators of things in Dominica, and to get them, to encourage them now to start registering. And within the government system, we'll be putting one or two persons who will be responsible to help you with whatever documentation you need, so that we can get people to know not only take advantage of the raw material, raw talent that you have, but royalties from people using your work or your product and so forth. So there are a number of things that we can do that could benefit people. Even the World Creole Music Festival, that we should have it patented, so that anybody who's going to use the World Creole Music Festival, they have to get permission from us.
Are you satisfied with the World Creole Music Festival?
I mean, it's an evolving. The World Creole Music Festival is evolving. So as time goes by, new things come up, and you have to respond to issues, whether it's competition coming there or the palettes of the patrons. Because at the end of the day, this is not about the government or what DFC thinks or what DFC thinks it should be. It is what the patrons think. Because at the end of the day, if the patrons don't come, then there's no Creole Festival. And so you have to take note of what people say and the artists that people want to come.
But PM, we have hardly had any evaluation. And I mean, this is one of the deficiencies of the festival. For instance, after every edition, I can remember prior, we would evaluate, go to the various radio stations, print, social media,
from that
so that the people, the consumers, even the owners can, say what they found that was lacking, what they found that was good, so what we can keep and what we can move. There's hardly any evaluation.
Okay,
of the World Creole Festival.
I take note of that. I think I agree with you.
And something very important is our French connection. Guadeloupe and Martinique have that autonomy now from France to get closer to their neighbors and cultural exchanges. But are we positioning ourselves, PM, to take full advantage of this?
Something I've said publicly, and I've also expressed to the Ministry of Tourism. You know, I do not think that we in Dominica are taking enough advantage of the opportunities which exist in Martinique and Guadeloupe. Martinique and Guadeloupe on their own have a population close to 1 million people. And if you add those who come from France alone,
during the summer,
from mainland France alone during the summertime or during vacation, you can add another 1 million to that. But it's also a major gateway to Europe.
Absolutely.
In terms of access to Europe, especially where tourists are concerned. Because a man comes to Guadeloupe, there's not much he can do Guadeloupe after a couple of days.
Yeah.
But he could take the boat, the ferry, and come to Dominica and spend a week. So I think we go further afield. We go to Germany to promote and so on.
We have had that traditional connection, you know, going way back, you know, with the huckster trade.
Yeah.
But are we, you know, because for instance, they are our biggest patronage for the World Creole Music Festival.
Yeah.
But are we including them? I could recall like myself and Jeff Joe, and even when Ezra and I, you know, went to market, we marketed the World Creole Music Festival as music and nous, which means it is the music of Guadeloupe, it is the music of Martinique, Dominica, St. Lucia, music and nous. But what we have been doing recently, like for instance last year, we never even launched in Guadeloupe. It's like we're taking them for granted, like they must come. Another critical thing, we are focusing on the younger generation of the French who don't have the spending capacity because they would come 10, 12 in a home, you know, they would sleep by friends, that sort of thing. Whereby traditionally, the people that would come to the festival based on what we present to them were a mix of mature people. They would come with their family, they would make sure they spend, they would do shopping and get back. There were traditional items, the wines, the punches they would take back. We no longer seeing that here.
I'm sure the folks at DFC and Minister of Tourism are taking note of that. And I agree with you that more collaboration, more engagement of the French territories should be done. But you also will agree that when the Creole Festival started, we were hardly getting people from Barbados or Trinidad or any of the English-speaking countries. Now you're seeing a dramatic increase and interest in that. So I'm saying that the festival has evolved, but I still believe that, and I agree with you, that Martinique and Guadeloupe has a special place in respect to some kind of special and differential commitment to them. Because they're part of the Creole culture and the Creole movement. And I think that more, I agree with you, that more could be had from a better strategy on engaging them in a conscious manner in terms of the promotion and marketing, and not only of the Creole Music Festival, but of the country as a whole.
Absolutely.
But again, it's sometimes like this, you know, you need, I believe sometimes you need people with the intrinsic passion and for that, you know. So people like yourself and people like Ezra, people like Ophelia Gordon and these people, Jeff Joe when he was with us, you know, all of you made a tremendous contribution to that. So I think we need to find a mechanism where that can be sustained in terms of the engagement of Martinique and Guadeloupe, but mindful of the fact that now Trinidadians want to descend in Dominica, you know, and Barbadians and St. Lucians and Grenadians, you know.
Whilst I agree, but then sometimes we have to remember what makes our spinal cord.
No, I
and not only that, but accessibility.
I agree with you.
Whereby the boats can make 2 and 3 trips a day, we have limited access for the Bajan or the Trinidadian to come. And PM, we hardly even tell them thank you for coming. We hardly go back to them and tell them thank you. As a matter of fact, while we were promoting the World Creole Music Festival, because these are notes we took based on, you know, our own evaluation. I do try to actually please them. Because when you have like almost 70% of our patronage come from the French, that's a market we have to really protect. And to me, we sort of taking them for granted. Whilst we're speaking, sir, there are 2 islands in the Caribbean who possess the Olympic track. Now, Guadeloupe has extended themselves for our athletes to use the track. It's in Guadeloupe and Puerto Rico. Well, everywhere else have their synthetic track, but then the Olympic certified.
We have the arrangement with them, yes. We have
now, we have spoken to, I mean, Billy Doctor, but nothing has been done. Where our athletes can get time and to practice on the Olympic tracks whilst we are waiting to do ours.
Yes.
You know, but then once again, we are not taking advantage of these connections. Even ferry, which is a business, I mean, we now say only the Express is available and they're going to add another boat. But then how can, let's say, the government get involved and even make the fares cheaper? What if it's just across it?
Well, how do you recommend the government make the fares cheaper? Because if they...
having a discussion.
Well, we do have discussions.
Having a discussion.
And I think we have facilitated the ferries on a number of fronts that we don't speak about. And this is why they keep coming. And this is why Dominica is one of their major markets. Because we do...
major market.
The market. You know, this is why we continue to engage. But if there are specific requests of us from the ferry companies, then it's something that we're more than prepared to engage on. But the fares are reasonable. People, you know, I mean, obviously people always want to pay something cheaper. But if there are any additional specific requirements or requests that the ferries have, we're more open to that. But I think we can follow up on the Guadeloupe Matney connection and to put a structure in place with yourself and others. So we can have a brainstorming and a
we should. On that. We should.
And I'll attend that meeting myself too.
Another very critical area of the festival I felt lacking is the traditional. You're a traditional man. You dance the traditional dances. Even at school, way up, and you gave us a big show a few years at the park. This is what makes us who we are. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of the World Cremusic Festival, because the festival was going to take place during independence, there was a major uproar in Dominica. Why not get the festival at some other time, just to protect our traditions? Now, we decided then to put the traditions or the traditional dances and aspect on the big stage during performances, so that because we are not doing that for ourselves, we're not for our visitors, because you want them to get a holistic Dominican experience. Because I've traveled far and my Dominica is very unique in what we have. And our dances may be similar and they may call it similar, but we are unique. But we are putting the traditional aspect 8 o'clock in the night when no one is in the park. So by 8:30 it is done for the night. When no one views it, television hardly takes it. I mean, what are we telling those people engaged in the preservation of the dances? Because we have quite a bit of young people now that are involved in those dances, but they have to be dancing to an empty audience. Well,
I think I mean, but for the practitioners, I don't want to give necessarily a particular view on it, because I don't get involved in this aspect of it. My preoccupation as Prime Minister is to ensure that we have the resources to ensure that we can host this, and as far as possible, Dominicans are engaged, and I've intervened a couple of times to allow Dominicans to perform. But I think too that this is also we have to appreciate that this is a patron-driven agenda, and you have so many bands that you have to entertain. My view personally that we having too many bands on the night.
I agree 100%.
But at the same token, which ones do you leave out at any given time of the festival? Because you have to cater for a lot of the Dominican bands to be part of it, and also the international bands, which will bring a global audience too. So you have that. What I think that the festival has done, recognizing that this festival has grown to be the premier festival in the Caribbean, from Jamaica down to Suriname, and we're not boasting, we're stating a fact. You know, you have a second stage on the forecourt, where you have a lot of these things taking place. Yeah, and hold on. And this second stage there is highly patronized. No, what one may want to consider is whether you want to have two stages, because you have the intermission time, you have to move from one band to another, you have to change the set, and you have to change this and that, and whether you want to have two stages, that while you're setting up on one, a performance can be taking place on one, where you can have those. If you're going to have during the intermission time an actual band performing, whether it's a cultural act or whatever it is, this group will want to have a specific setup.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're on international stage. They cannot come onto a stage with no lights and no setup, no props. So I think one maybe has to look at in that stakeholder engagement. How do you keep on the main stage that which you're suggesting, while at the same time having the main acts coming forward? The reality is, what I think we have to guard against in Dominica, where the traditional dances are concerned, is that it should not be limited to only during independence time.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? This has to be part of the schools, it has to be part of the community, and then when we have national activities, and we try to do it in the government system, is to have those groups performing.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? I think in tourism and even the private sector people have to now look at this thing as an opportunity. Is there anybody in Dominica who has a cultural performance offering to the stayover visitors and also the cruise visitors? So somebody can go somewhere in a place and have those activities where people pay their drinks, there's food, and people buy Creole clothes. I mean, today is not Independence Day, and you dress in your Creole outfit.
I'm 100%. I'm 100%.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Creole.
Right.
100%.
So this is what we have to move towards there, and that so it is an everyday life.
Creole is a lifestyle.
Obviously, you know, it will be punctuated during the Independence time. But it will be throughout. There'll be a flow throughout the year, and of course we have to guard against the independence time, ensure that we maintain it, and the cultural gala, because the cultural gala used to attract or can attract thousands of people.
Of course.
You see, but it has to be sold to as a main act during the independence calendar.
Because what we did, PM, is when we promoted the festival then, we promoted the festival from the 30th of September, which was the beginning of independence. What I have noticed in recent times is we promote the World Cremusic Festival, but not the festival as part of independence.
But back in the days you're talking about, we didn't have Creole in the Park that was created.
Yes, we had Creole in the Park then. Creole in the Park was part of. No. I'm talking about in recent times. You know, recent times. Okay. When we promoted, you get me back to the festival.
Okay. So that time. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know those. You see, this critical, so that people who may not be able to come for the weekend.
But why didn't you have somebody like you on board? What's the problem? Well,
there are lots of internal reasons, PM, which we can talk about. Okay. If you want a conversation in that, we can have a discussion. But then critically, sir, it is important that we look and continually revisit.
I accept
because what has been going on, for instance, we have close relationship with the Cubans and the Venezuelans, and Latin music is truly world music. We had Cuban bands before, we have had, you know, Venezuelan bands, and if you understand the tree of the Creole music, Haitian compa music, based on Hispaniola, which is half Spanish and half Haitian, was created with Latin music as a foundation. So Haitian Latino music is an integral part of Creole music. Now we have these relationships with friendly relationships with Venezuela and Cuba, and I think an element during the Creole Festival, because I think would really give some more variety. Now we have Cuba, we have Hispaniola, we have Puerto Rico. Now, all these are thousands.
Yeah.
These are hundreds, I mean, millions of people that we can tap instead of, let's say, the pockets that may come in the English-speaking Caribbean. Yeah. Now, Puerto Rico is direct.
I don't think it should be instead of. I think it should be in addition to.
In addition to, sorry. In addition to.
So I accept that.
Because, I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult to, because we have embassies here and we have a close relationship, you know, with these countries. Yeah. The language, the Creole language. And once I remember you told me that you were thinking of a Creole village. I'm not sure if that is still on the cards and you wanted to suggest Grand Bay. Yeah. But the language itself, PM, it is a cause for concern.
We have to speak it, eh?
We are not speaking it.
C'est Creole Dominique.
Mais pour nous faire ça, nous devons faire ces légiola.
Mais légiola ni pour apprendre Creole la caillou.
Ouais, mais
si Péo n'a pas parler.
Mais il passe à parler.
Mais il faut parler. Si vous parlez pas Creole Dominique, si vous parlez pas Creole à Kazou Dominique, à quelle manière vous allez mettre en l'école? Puis si ça, parce que on langage c'est on peut passer un monde pour l'autre tout ça.
D'accord.
Vous comprenez?
D'accord.
C'est pas à l'école seulement où on apprend ça.
D'accord. Mais puisque nous des problèmes là déjà. Parce que nous avons un problème.
Nous avons un problème Dominique.
Nous apprenons créole parce que nous avons maman nous et puis maman n'a pas parlé. Mais ça va pas faire d'accord. Et nous avons un problème parce que jeune monde pas parler créole, jeune maman, jeune papa pas parler créole.
Ça nous faire nous pour pitcher l'esprit monde importance créole. Puis on jeune gens yo dit là il va pas créole ça.
Moi savent ça. Moi savent ça.
So, on parle pas de créole. Et c'est moun là qui ça parle créole, pas parler. So, nous ne prenons plus publicité.
Parce que nous ne pouvons pas engager moun. Parce que we knew of a special project by the Minister of Education with the pilot project with a few schools. But then, like St. Lucia, I mean, we were at one stage from hearing from Felix and Jamala. At some point, we were.
But some schools that do it. Some schools do it, but
then in St. Lucia, it is accepted. Yeah. It is accepted.
Yeah, I understand.
There's a policy.
I understand.
And it's accepted in Parliament. We know that this is Alex Boyd Knight's fought for that.
We're pushing for that. Yeah.
So then, if there's because CAC is like the unofficial, body responsible for Creole.
Yeah.
Right now, I know they are doing a revised dictionary with all the new words. But PM, if in case we make it, it's like we must do either French or Spanish. We must. Almost if you go through the system, you must do either one.
I know when even when back on as Minister of Education, we start to introduce Creole in classrooms, but you always get a pushback when you have consultations in communities.
Yeah.
I remember going to some communities, I was shocked that people had a pushback in respect to teaching Creole. But I accept with you that it is too crucial.
And it's important for us.
In terms of who we are.
Yeah.
For us to appear to be losing it. I mean, I go to communities in Dominica where I go and I speak Creole and they respond to me in English.
Yeah.
Who 20 years ago, Creole was the first language.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But with access to education and opening up of the country, sometimes you lose your traditional things. And
I agree, but then one must remember one of the main drivers in our economy is the World Creole Music Festival.
Yeah.
And the Creole there is distinct.
No. So I think maybe we should come back and bring some sharper focus to it. And I think I think yourself, people like yourself, Gregory Rabes and others, we may want to step forward and to coordinate these things along with others. But I think sometimes these things are done when you have a group of activists pushing it and coordinating it. You see, so because we have to, I agree with you entirely, Alex, in this. It is too central to our culture and our tradition and who we are as a people, as a nation.
And this is our link to Guadeloupe and Martinique, to Europe.
Yeah.
This is, you know, because right now someone can get a degree in Creole Studies in either Martinique or Guadeloupe.
Yeah.
It's available. And, you know, there is text available. Keck is now preparing several texts that people can actually teach them their own selves.
I mean, even in the oral aspect of Creole, you know, we need to teach people, you know, and
but even signage too.
Yeah.
For instance, we have the hospital. This is like the hospital. Welcome to the China Dominica French. Bienvenue Chinois, you know, Dominique l'hôpital. You understand? In your face signage.
Yeah.
Bienvenue à Ozo, bienvenue à Guatans, bienvenue, you know, this signage, these visuals. Yeah. In terms of sports, because for time we may be short, mainly because of time. What is the latest with Benjamin's Park, PM?
Benjamin's Park is highly improved. We're now working on the courts. As a matter of fact, we also build an indoor sports facility there at the Benjamin's Park, but we have had to find a new location because of the soil type there. It is, as you know, Portsmouth is below sea level. So if you dig 6 inches down in Benjamin's Park or a foot down, you meet water. So we couldn't have built that structure there. So we've acquired new lands, and so that that has been redesigned to be placed there. Benjamin's Park, as a matter, is just to continue maintaining it, and we hold regional matches there. There's a Winners tournament taking place there. We have an indoor covered practice pitch, a couple of them there, built largely by the leadership of Ambassador Nanton. We have the training facility, the regional training facility there, that you'll find nowhere else in the Winners Islands. And I think it is highly rated. As a matter of fact, it's an area, is a grounds where international practice can take place. It has been certified by the West Indies Cricket Board and ICC, based on what I've been advised. Play football there. I think it's a matter for us to continue maintaining and upgrading the Benjamin's Park. So Benjamin's Park is in good shape. We've constructed some tennis courts. It's a matter now to move with the marking. So there we are to create multiple sports taking place there, and of course the indoor netball and basketball courts will be built at a different location in Portsmouth.
Absolutely. In terms of the Windsor Park, PM, limited access for especially sportsmen in the Roosevelt area.
Yeah.
Can we do something at least to free up or open up?
Yeah, we see people have to help us too sometimes. You see, for example, people criticize and say, well, people say, well, Roosevelt has no sporting facilities. We went and we built basketball courts, netball courts, tennis courts for Roosevelt. Now, everybody wants to use there for a fete. And therefore, it is difficult for the folks of Roosevelt to have access to the basketball court, to the tennis court, to the netball court. As a matter of fact, the part of Roosevelt has some clinics that she wants to run with for tennis. But you can never get an opportunity to run it because it's almost always in use for cultural activities. And we're to build a football field next to the grammar school. As you know, the Chinese were occupying there, in the hospital, so they have vacated there. We're going to be clearing this, and so there we will build a football pitch just for Roosevelt, and of course to be used by the grammar school. So that we've done there.
How soon will that be in effect? Yeah?
Well, this year. This is part of the grammar school project. So this year, and one of the things I wanted to do, for example, as part of the Botanic Gardens redevelopment, was to redo the cricket pitch, build new pavilions, and as you know, below the pavilion is a huge space
on the side,
and then we are going to transform that into a synthetic small goal football. Okay. Because at present now the guys play on the thing,
on the grass
itself, and the grass itself. So we're gonna use a synthetic track. So the guys who are working come in early morning or late at night, and use there so that you get them off from the from what it's supposed to be for botanic purposes or botany purposes, and get into a designated playing area. I know the part has been speaking about the redevelopment and the use, so we have to determine what use we make of the Dominica Club area.
Oh yeah, on High Street.
Yeah, because we spent all these hundreds of thousands of dollars to build this courts at the forecourt of the stadium, but it's been used for all sorts of things except sports, in most cases, most times. So where do we now build the basketball courts and tennis courts? So we're looking at possible uses of the Dominica Club. That would be strictly for sports and what have you. So you have that.
What about
of course,
the
you have Geneva.
What about the stock farm facility?
Well, that area is not. That area would be used for something else.
About that.
Yeah, that area was supposed to be used for the swimming.
Yeah.
Okay, and also support some indoor facilities. But at the time, the costs and of course different issues came up. We had to redesign, and of course events, robotic events. So it's something that is still in the cards for us and so on. Of course, Geneva, we spent a lot of money in Geneva.
Yeah.
That has been used for regional tournaments.
Cricket, yeah.
We know the islands tournament taking place there. At present, we are putting lights on 8 playing fields. Maho, Vekas, Center in Granby, Bellevue Chopin, Grand Fond, Glanville in Portsmouth, Anse de May, and there's one more that we put in. It slips me. We already have lights in Tebow, we already lights in Woodfordale. So there are a number of things that we're doing on sports, and the lights in Maho have already been installed. Vekas installed, Bellevue Chopin installed. We're moving to Grand Fond to be installed. So our hope and prayer is that people can make use of those investments. 8 playing fields with lights is not a simple investment.
It should help.
You know, so.
PM, in terms of how are we going to rectify that Windsor Park issue? I mean, you know, it's a tremendous loss for us already with the World Cup. But how are we going? I mean, I heard you at the last press conference.
You talking about the lights?
Yes, the lights.
No,
I saw a big project taking place in Barbados.
The
same lighting.
Well, that's Barbados. The Barbados government took a loan to
but how are we going to get ourselves from that sticky situation?
No, we will put the lights, and we're looking at the contract. So we engage in the supply of the lights. As you know, we had started. We had started putting lights. We had a contract for close to $3 million. What we found out was that the bases that we were going to be putting may not be compatible with the poles.
Was it the wrong contractor, PM?
Well, I don't want to say the wrong contractor. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily the wrong contractor. I think that they should have been greater synchronization by the advice to the government on this matter. But we take responsibility for it, and not. So I think that I believe we have a solution to this. Obviously, that money spent that has gone. We have a solution to it. The challenge we had then with regards to the hosting of the World Cup was that with timelines, and we don't want to commit and not have the time to do
because of the specifications of IC.
Yeah, that's right. But in terms of lights and so on, we're certainly going to be pushing for that and have the lights set up so that we can have the tournament, because Dominica is a preferred venue.
For cricket, of course.
For cricket and many other sports.
I also heard you at your recent press conference talking about the Arawak.
Yeah.
And what are we really going to do with the present Arawak? I mean, I heard you mention about the constructional deficiencies.
Yeah.
And you also spoke about a new facility. So let's deal with the Arawak first. I mean, from where we are with Arawak, are we going to squash it and do something brand new, or?
Because we have spent so much money in retrofitting the Arawak and the procurement of so many things, the Arawak in a top of the line, audio system, new seats, and a lot of things that we have spent money on. I don't think we can turn our back on those investments. what I found out from the ministry is that in a recent visit, they're now saying that we have to do some work on the roof. You understand? My original view was that we should have built a new structure.
From scratch.
From scratch. You know, and because there are a number of things that are crucial to performing arts which do not exist at the ARAC.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? And I felt that we should do some basic repairs in the ARAC, let it be used for the time being, and find a new location. Because you have the ARAC, but the only person who can get a parking at the ARAC when they perform is the president, you know.
Yeah. At the front.
Yeah. At the front. Yeah. So I have to park there in the Information Center and walk across if you have a function. And so we could have spent some time for a new location, and the monies that we were spending to retrofit the ARAC, we could spend it elsewhere on that new facility. And then you could have a modern facility for the next 150 years.
Well, I also just spoke about for modern facility also.
So we've got
Where will that facility be?
well, we have a couple of options, and we're putting together a team of cultural enthusiasts. I've already spoken to a few of them, and they've all agreed to serve. Because I do not want it to be only government driving it. I want it to be a nationally driven stuff, because sometimes you need people with passion to drive those things, and intrinsic passion to drive those things. And so we'll be engaging those persons to look at the options of locations, because you have to look at the issue of parking and etc. And also to ensure that we properly define what are the elements we need to have in this facility during design stage and of course during construction phase. But it is something that is going to be a dramatic edifice that would cover a number of cultural and entertainment aspects of Dominica.
As we speak, sir, this is a draft. And we can show you to the camera. This is a draft, and this is for the Indian Ocean.
Indian Ocean.
La Réunion, that's Reunion Island, where Calypso, as we speak, is as popular as 50 years ago. And they see that genre as their own patrimony. So they have invited, as a matter of fact, Ophelia performed last year, Jeff and several others performed. Anthony Gussie actually lives in La Réunion. He created a Calypso school, teaching young people from Reunion, Cadas. Now, there is this major expo where Gordon Anderson, Midnight Groovers, is going to be performing at that major extravaganza. And also they were willing to get Derek Peter, that is Mahmoud, Mama Maji Wizin also. And they're getting some challenges, you know, because the cost is almost €2,000 for just a ticket. I'm not sure if the government possibly can look at including, because what has happened to him, Mama Maji Wizin is not, there are some guys in Reunion owning or claiming to own that song, which was actually made by a Dominican, which was Derek Peter from Salisbury. So it is felt that if he goes and sing the song, and the promoters agreed, in Reunion, to claim his song, that he may actually claim some of his rights.
But he can't claim his song if he does not go and have his song registered.
Well, his song is registered, but then guys...
Intellectual property.
Okay,
so
no problem.
He has to go the route of intellectual property.
Yes.
And registering this song as his intellectual property. You know, because, you know, as you know, people have contention even for use of a word in a song, and say, well, that's my word, you have used my song, you know. But we can discuss it off the record.
Of course.
You know, the stuff if I'm...
In terms of that young cricketer, Stefan Pascal, who is presently, hopefully should be playing today in the next game. Are there any plans to further his development? Because what we saw in South Africa during the World Cup, as a matter of fact, is the first Dominican to captain a regional side. We are aware that you did something for Kavem Hodge and Afanaz, but at 19 and seen as a leader already in the Caribbean circles, is there any way, you know, the government can...
all of those, and we'll make an announcement soon, all of those persons who have excelled will be given special recognition, including Mr. James, who got the bronze medal.
Yes.
So in the next few days or so, people like Stephen Pascal would be engaged in a particular way, recognized a particular way, and also Mr. James. So anybody with talent that we see, we certainly position them in a way that they can focus on build and honing their talents and ensuring that they get to the apex of the sport that they're involved in. So we'll do that. That's the same thing we've done with this young lady who got the gold medal through the DOC.
Yeah.
We've been working with her, ensuring that she has what she requires to focus on the sports. And this is the same thing that we will do. The same thing we try to do with Carvin Hodge and also with Afanaz to facilitate them in terms of so that the diplomatic passport, and also with a special allowance that at least the domestics can be handled while they are focusing on their talent and ensuring that they can make a team. So similar things will be done for Stephen Pascal and others like that.
Yeah, because this would be very encouraging. Yeah. Something like similar to like for instance, the NEP.
No. We have a special arrangement, so they will be engaged.
Okay.
So,
but you're not at liberty to mention what
yeah,
exactly.
The Minister of Sports will be in touch with them and express to them and invite them, and I will also be to them at some point to articulate certain things. But certainly they'll be okay.
Okay, there are lots of other things I wanted to talk about, especially Carnival, the Carnival product, which is the real mass, sir. Yeah. And the real mass is a combination.
The government doesn't listen to me on Carnival. I have many ideas of it, but the government doesn't.
But then I have covered Carnival for the last 17 years on DBS. Yeah. And we call our product the real mass, and it is different from all the other countries in the Caribbean. Yeah. Totally different. But are we maximizing the difference?
Yeah, what we have started to do is to have a series of consultations. And so I have started in a couple of those consultations with a number of people who are involved in the Carnival production, also the government system. Okay, and the idea is to continue that consultation, and out of that consultation is to bring in a joint team of government and non-government actors, so that we can properly define our Carnival product, properly define how it's going to be marketed, properly define how it's going to be executed. Because I think that we can have way more benefits from Carnival insofar as foreign exchange coming to our country. More hotels being occupied, and more taxis are being occupied, and so forth. If we make certain changes to the whole structure of the Carnival and to the whole approach of the Carnival, I think it can be huge. I always believe that we don't need to compete with anybody. Exactly. We have our own niche market, and I think we need to have a way of properly marketing it and position it to take advantage of the many opportunities. Because the reality is, people love to come to Dominica. Dominica is a place where it's safe, it's hospitable. We have Carnival for 2 days and no incidents whatsoever of any note. And we appreciate that. And it's a place where anybody and everybody can participate. Yeah. Other countries, you're a spectator. You're a spectator. You view it. Yeah. So anybody can participate. And
come and join a band same day.
It's a real family atmosphere. But the reality is, we have to step it up a couple of notches. And I'm not criticizing anybody who's part of the program. We're here as Dominicans assessing things and what we believe can be done. So we started that engagement because it's important for us to engage people with divergent views, because even within the consultation, people disagree and people agree. Yeah. And that's part of the process. And then it's to pick out now the cross themes and then focus on these 5 things and what we can do towards building the Carnival and making it really truly spectacular. I mean, this year was okay, was fine, it was great. People enjoyed themselves. It was huge.
With the exception of some profanity at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Well, all of those things that we have to
tighten up on that.
Tighten up and define. But
it wasn't healthy.
But you see, we cannot speak about it after the fact.
Well,
and we have to speak about it.
That is why it should be controlled before.
No. So that's what I'm saying. There must be structure. So if you're going to be on a ban on the road,
your language.
What are your confinements? What are your obligations? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you're going to be a group on the road, what are your What are your obligations? What are your confinements? So I think sometimes we have a lot of unspoken rules, or unwritten rules, and then when those rules are not adhered to, we complain. You know what I'm saying? But there should be sanctions only if they're written rules, and people sign off to this. You see what I'm saying? And so that there is a greater control, because it's a product. We are showcasing Dominica and not showcasing an individual band. Individual bands make a part of it, but at the end of it, it's Dominica's Carnival, and so we have to be mindful that you have a varied audience and patrons.
Two things quickly,
that you have to be mindful of.
Two things, PM, because I just got an indication that we have 5 more minutes.
Sure.
One is quite a bit of resources was spent to actually put some portraits of some of the greatest musicians ever to perform in Dominica at the Bayfront with the consent of Mr. Benoit Badwin. It's 6 months now that a boat is directly in front of the portrait of Gordon Henderson, Chowby, Philip Mack. I mean, I've tried everything, and it's people cursing me. I would really appreciate if you can use your power to get this boat at least. We have seen quite a bit of the tourists taking pictures there. And I'm actually showed Mr. Badwin a picture of tourists taking out photographs of the images, because I guess they may be recognized Jeff Joe or who. But just try to imagine Chowby and these guys, before they die, they could see their portraits in the city, by the Bayfront, the entrance to the city, and on a boat, which is supposed to be on the sea somewhere fishing or trying to get some work to do, is directly on, and intentional. I mean, our fencing was vandalized, our personal resources were put in it. 18 of the greatest musicians' portraits are there, and yet still, you know, we have that level of discrimination against our culture. Well, lastly, you know, I'm a port worker, sir, and before before you went on your major trip, I was excited to hear, as soon as you come back, you will take care of that. But I just wanted to draw a few things quickly to your attention. Is one, when do you know that we actually took protest action on the port? I can tell you, I was the chairman, I was the person organizing the protest action when we reached the deadlock with DASPA in 2001. We took protest action. The then AG, that is David Bruni, came to our rescue, spoke with us, and confirmed with us that decision would be, everything would be settled, which never happened. I also want to bring your attention that when we were drastically from one week to another cut down unilaterally by 31%, sir, that it was said it would make the dividends would go to the consumer. Or chips would go, the businesses would bring down the prices of their goods, and the consumers would benefit. But what ended up happening without no price control, the merchants took, as a matter of fact, they doubled their profits while the port workers continued to work. For the reduction of pay, no increase for over 20 years. I really wish you could solve this. I am one of those who have really sacrificed tremendously. Then lastly, I'm not sure if you are aware that we actually worked for produce and export at a reduced tonnage. As at the time it was DCP, coconut soap, and that sort of thing. And we would actually give incentives, more tons per hour, just to facilitate produce and to facilitate export. And we sacrificed that, and then nothing to our rescue, no increase for 20 years, and then we were reduced.
I think you left the most important question for last, right?
Well, this is important because I happen to be the chairman then.
I respect that. As you know, I've been using my good offices to seek to bring a resolution to this impasse of a very long time. And I am confident that we will resolve this matter.
That's good news.
This year. I'm confident of that.
Before the budget?
Well, I'm confident. I don't want to say, well, you know, before the budget or after the budget and so on. But certainly, I intend to bring a resolution to this and to use my good offices to bring a resolution to this. I've met with yourselves. You submitted something to me. I've engaged the diaspora on it. Diaspora has a particular view, but I think between diaspora's view and your view, we can find
a common ground,
find consensus, and agree to solve this matter. On the second point of the conditions of the port worker, of the civil development and so forth, I intend to meet with you yourselves on that specific point, separate and distinct from this impasse that you have.
Excellent.
I have heard some of the concerns that you have from your representatives. I empathize with them. I believe that the stevedores are unsung heroes in the country and the important role they play. And I think whatever we can do that are reasonable to facilitate and to address their concerns, then we need to do that. The Minister for Ports are very well aware of this, Honorable Pemberton, and I have also signaled this to the Board of Directors of DASPA. But I intend to lead this myself as Prime Minister directly, because I understand how important it is, and I understand it requires my intervention. But I empathize with the stevedores. I don't like looking back. I like looking forward, and so let us look at it from today and how we can make tomorrow better. But I'm confident that we may not necessarily agree on all points, but I'm sure that there are a couple of points, based on what I've heard, that we can get the DASPA to agree to and to implement and so on, so that at least life will be better for you then than now.
Yeah, because quite a bit of our members are dying, and they have been deprived of this opportunity that was taken.
Well, I just want to say for the record that I did in fact propose many years ago a solution to the impasse. Yeah. But I don't think that was properly relayed to the executive and the wider membership of the stevedores of WAWU at the time. But I did in fact, shared certain views, I believe, because remember there was a time that there was a protest.
Yes.
And I had to come down on the port.
Yeah.
And to
mediate.
You understand? And at that time I had made certain proposals. But I think yourselves, I must say that the representatives who I have met are professional, they're knowledgeable, and we've always had mutually respectful discussions on this matter. And I think the membership of WAWU, especially stevedores, owe you guys a debt of gratitude. Yeah. I think you have represented them exceptionally well. Yourself, Armour Thomas, there's
Bionel, there's Kello Thomas.
And all these guys, I mean, really, really respectful and professional and very knowledgeable. And I think I'm confident we'll find a middle ground and to put this matter to rest. It may require that particular loan to pay you, but if that's the case, then
that's good news, because I'm not Jean Titache anymore. I started to get the grades in abundance.
I want to say, I'm on your side and so on that matter.
That's good.
So you don't need to. It's not a matter of persuading me.
Yeah.
To understand your plight. I understand your plight. It's a matter for us to twist the arms of DASPA a bit.
Yes, PM, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. Not very often do we get to speak about culture and sports, and most times it's the hardcore politics. But then I really want to thank you for really giving us the opportunity to have that lovely little discussion. I hope that our audience were edified with and relieved that some of the suggestions and some of the vision that your government have for us. And I just hope that I'm living an open avenue, an open way. You can come on the program anytime you feel like. Just give me some indication, talk to your press secretary, lovely Miss Durand, who was very, very gracious in her duties. So once again, thank you very much, PM. Off the record, will you be going up for next election? Thank you very much. This was another. You want to answer?
Thank you. I'll answer next time.
This was another Creole Heartbeat program. Prince Wadix, may God bless you. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for listening. Until next Wednesday, we should have. I think we head into the Kalinago territory with Prosper Paris, as we continue to network and connect us to our history. I'm Leroy Wadix Charles. May God bless you. Producer Dion Durand, Dean of Instructions, Chad George. God bless you, and God bless the greatest country on the face of this earth. Thank you very much, PM.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.